Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast. My name is John Bunn, and believe it or not, I'm joined today by my best good buddy, Mr. Nick Miller. Nick, hi. It is good to see your face and your beard and your bald head. How are you?
I'm good. I almost forgot what this was like since we haven't sat down and recorded like this, and I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Feels like years.
It's been a bit, and despite all of the DMs, we still love each other. We're still a team. Wedding season hit us hard this year. I mean, starting in May, Nick and I have both been at our home offices at the same time for a total of 10 days in the last 4 months. So that's, the ebbs and flows of running this business. But we are here today. Nick, what have you been up to? Where have you been? Just what's been going on in your life?
Yeah. So this spring, back in April, we were in California. Then I was in Kansas City 3 weeks in a row. Then I went to New York, upstate New York, not the city, New York. And then Colorado Springs for a couple. Then we were off for 6 weeks, and it was glorious. It was just what I needed, and we'll get into that in a little bit about why it was what I needed. I took a family vacation to Yosemite. Man, it's incredible there. It's hard to describe. If you've never been to the Yosemite Valley, it is so beautiful. It almost doesn't look real because of how pretty it is. Anyway, and we had a really great time with our family. And then just yesterday, we got back from a wedding that we shot outside of San Diego. And it was, man, after the weddings that we've had, the last few that we've had, this was just what I needed. It was beautiful. The couple was amazing. The planners we work with were incredible. It was a great experience. And I feel good. I feel rejuvenated, and I'm ready to get off and go do some more in these next few weeks that we have. So that's kind of what I've been up to. What about you, my friend, since May? What have you been up to?
Yeah, I haven't traveled as much, but I have found this really good flow where I have 13 weddings booked this year. And most I've done 6 or 7 I've done 7 of them. I have 6 to go, August through December. So a couple in September, a couple in October, and 1 in December, basically. But May started a trip to Guatemala for a week, and then the next weekend was Telluride, Colorado, and then a week off, and then upstate New York as well, and then a couple weeks off, and then a wedding here in Tulsa. It was hotter than the sun. It was so hot here. But yeah, I've only shot 1 wedding in Oklahoma this year, and that does take a toll on you and different things. And so, yeah, that was middle of July. So I've been off for a few weeks, and I don't have another event until September. So as we're recording, it's August. And so it's another 4 weeks or so off before I've got a couple of weddings back to back, and it starts to get busy again. But took a lot of time with family, been doing a lot of swimming around the house and things like that. But
you've been swimming around your house? What kind of house do you have?
we built a house around inside of our pool. No, I've been swimming and hanging around the house. But yeah, after my wedding on July 10th, I've been off. So I've been working on a lot of stuff when it comes to how to film weddings and some new products and some new things.
Guys, he has.
Yeah, it's been fun. So getting back in the saddle and getting more content ready to go for our YouTube channel, and just really diving in the back half of this year to give our listeners and our audience much more free content. So that's what I've been up to. I'm feeling really good and really refreshed. And I think a lot of it has come because of balance, creating balance in my life. And for a little bit there, it started to feel out of balance, especially in May and June, where it just felt like I was gone and then home for 2 days and then gone and home for 2 days and gone. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Yeah, well, it's good to I don't know. As we've been chatting a little bit and talking about this, you know, this is one of those businesses that really goes in kind of waves and floods for a lot of people, right? It kind of, there's some ups and there's some downs, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not so good, and sometimes it's awful and sometimes it's just kind of there, right? And we just wanted to take a little bit of time and just kind of talk about what it is that both of us have kind of gone through and how we've been feeling and how we've been approaching the year. Because we know that, okay, we have this podcast and we've talked about how much money we've made and we've talked about all these places we've traveled to. And I'm sure that people look at us and like, man, these guys, they don't struggle. Like they have it all together. They have it figured out. Their films are incredible, or at least mediocre at best for us, right? There's just all of these things that are happening, and we know that people look at us a little bit differently because of that. And so we just wanted to open it up, and I wanted to share that, dude, and I've been talking to you about this for a while, probably the last, other than this one this weekend, the last 6 weddings that we had filmed had been just rough. And some of that had to do with maybe the couples that we worked with. All very nice, but just like maybe not in the lane that we want to film is maybe the right way to put that. But then there are other extenuating circumstances. Like there was this one where it was like 55, 60 mile an hour winds outside. I sent our How to Film Weddings team a video where my beard was like moving in the wind because it was so windy. We've shot one where on social media, the couple, especially the bride, seemed to be like super fun and going out and partying and, having a good time. And on the wedding day, she was just so like stiff, when she's like, I just feel awkward about everything. And that was a bummer. And then we did this one in New York, and it was just in this barn wedding in New York, which again is fine, but it was, I don't know, you're going to that area, you're like, oh, this is going to be something different. And it was something I could have done here. We had one wedding where the hair and makeup was like 2 hours behind, which even though we were there 12 hours on the day, it still messed things up. And then we did one where the DJ was a friend of the father of the bride. And me saying those words, I think you get a clear, accurate picture of what that wedding day was probably like. And so Jen and I, if you have one of those weddings, where something goes wrong or something just doesn't feel right, you're like, okay, man, that one really stunk, but we're just going to get up and move on. Like we're going to go to the next one. But then whenever you have 2 weeks in a row, and then 3 weeks in a row, and then 4 and 5 in a row, then you start kind of questioning yourself a little bit. And that's where Jen and I have really been for the past, kind of few months, is questioning our business. What are we doing wrong? Like, did we attract the wrong people? Did we sell ourselves wrong? Did we do this stuff wrong? Like where did we go? What did we do? And really questioning if we were good at this job anymore, really questioning the work that we were doing, really questioning if we should be in this. I mean, Jen's like, am I done? Like filming, like that's kind of the headspace that we've been in. And I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that have gone through stretches, because we did, 7 weddings in 10 weeks in 5 different states is kind of where we were. We were traveling all over the place. And I know that you guys out there listening have probably been through stretches where you're like, something is off and something just isn't working and something isn't right. And it really, really led me to being burnt out. And I would have conversations with John, and he's like, hey man, if you need to like take steps back from stuff, if you need to do this, you need to, you take care of you and your family and your business and stuff. So that's a little bit of kind of where we have been over the last few weeks. And it was nice having this 6-week break that we had because we were able to really just kind of recharge and rejuvenate ourselves and, get back into it. And then the one that we shot this past weekend was the type of couple we want to work with, the planners we wanted to work with. It was very perfect, and we're very excited about that. So anyway, that's just kind of where I've been, and I'll get into a little bit maybe what we've been doing to remedy that. But I just wanted to give an update of where we have been, and I have definitely feeling the frustration and the burnout and all of this stuff, that the negative side of owning a business and having this business. So, John, why don't you talk for a bit?
I would love to. I love talking.
I know.
That's why this job really suits me. So in the middle of that, being your friend and podcast host with you on, running a business together, but you and Jen have your separate business. Watching you over the last few years, you have really grown a lot in the last 5 years, where you were charging $2,500, $3,500. Now it's over 10,000 for things. And, it's growing and doing the things, but while you're growing, sometimes there's some pruning to happen and some things that you need to like peel back and to be like, okay, this is great. We're getting paid a lot, but you weren't happy with the kinds of weddings that you were doing. And I was like, yeah, the numbers are good. I know for a fact you have more money in your bank account than you've ever had for your business and there have been times we've talked about and where you were like, hey, I have no money in my business account. What the heck? I got to borrow money from my mom or I've got to. And so like that area is now full, but the creative side is like, or the kinds of weddings, it's like, man, something is missing. Are we supposed to be doing these? And I just want to give people permission that are out there maybe going through something. You're growing. There are growing pains. There might be some pruning that needs to happen. I know Nick and I talked about like, maybe you're charging too much. Maybe you've outpriced the kinds of couples that you want to do. Maybe it's way more about the location and the couple themselves and you're okay with making a few thousand less extra dollars because you're attracting and so the thing that I want people to give themselves permission to do is to be okay knowing something is off. Don't freak out if something's off. Don't just quit your business. Don't just change everything. Nick has been using wisdom and taking time over the last 6 months to really process what is happening, giving himself time off, giving himself time to think about his ideal work, life balance, the kinds of couples, and is still in the process of identifying what it is about a wedding that makes him walk away and say, this is the kind of work I want to do. This is how much I want to get paid. And it reminds me of a story I've told, I think, to our mastermind group, but in 2017 was kind of a similar story for me where I was getting as much as I had ever been getting paid, but the kinds of weddings, I just did like a stretch in October of 2017. I was shutting down another business. I was having to let employees go. I was just in like this really bad place of burnout, and then did this really high dollar wedding where the couple didn't treat me like crap, but they just treated me like I didn't matter. And I just wasn't important. They didn't care what I had to say. They just looked at me like I was small, like they were better than me. And I just had the worst day. I was like, I'm never filming a wedding again. I want to quit. And this was 10 years into me doing weddings. It's just like, this is enough. I don't even know why I'm doing this. This is the tippy top of what you can charge in Tulsa. And if this is the kind of wedding I'm going to do, or the kind of, I don't want to be a part of it. And I remember it was a rainy Saturday. I remember working 12 hours. Nothing went right. The couple didn't listen to anything I said. I felt like crap. I got to my car and I just broke down. I pulled all my cart, in the pouring rain. And it was like a movie scene almost. I'm just sitting in the car, just crying by myself like a little weenie, but just completely emotionally broken down. I didn't have money in my bank account. I was having to let employees go on another business, and it's just treated like crap all day. And I had a moment where I was like, I am never going to do this. I've had enough, and I'm not going to ever film a wedding for somebody just because of money ever again. And I'm not going to, and you learn these things about yourself. And so, when you're out there and maybe you're in a position of burnout, maybe you're telling yourself, I'm never going to take this many weddings again. Or I'm not going to take a wedding if I don't feel like I have a connection with the couple, or if they don't feel like they have a connection with each other, or if the mother of the bride treats me poorly, or whatever it is. But you have to be the one to set up those boundaries. And the boundaries are really important. I'm not going to do this again. If you just let people take over your boundaries and what you'll do, that's when you get into this place of burnout, or you can get into a place of frustration. Nick, now I've been talking a lot. What do you want to add?
A couple of things that you were saying that I wanted to touch on. One, so many of us put such a emphasis on making the most money that we can, and then we think that will bring happiness or joy or whatever. And don't get me wrong, making more money for what you do is great. But whenever you put all of your eggs in that basket, whenever you're like, oh, as soon as I make 5,000, 8,000, 10 at a wedding, eventually that excitement from making that amount is going to wear off. You need to find something, some sort of enjoyment, some sort of something to replace that. Not saying that making a lot of money isn't great and isn't a goal that you should have. Okay, I definitely believe that is true, but you need to have something more than that. The other thing, as you were saying, let's just kind of go from a scale here. So let's say you're making $2,000 now, and you want to get in. Let's say 3,500 is your goal. You want to get up there. There is going to be some sort of growing pains that you are going to have to go through to get to that 3,500. I don't know if it's the type of editing that you do. You're going to have to spend more time. Maybe it's music selection. Maybe it's the vendor relation. I don't know what it is, but you're going to have to go through something. But after you get there and you want to get to 5,000, there's more growing pains that you have to go through. If you're at 5,000 and you want to get to 10, there's going to be more growing pains that you have to go through. And I think that's what we've been experiencing. We've been charging quite a bit, and then now we're just in a different place, and there's some things that we are wanting to work through and figuring that stuff out. And after we come back from break, I'll kind of get into some of the things that we've started getting the ball rolling to make some adjustments on that. But those are the two things. No matter where you are in your business, there are always going to be growing pains to get to that next spot, or if you're happy where you are, there are going to be growing pains just to maintain and stay at the level that you are at. Because if you don't continue to evolve your business and grow a little bit, then you're going to be left behind. And when, I used to charge 10,000, well, now I can only charge 6. I used to charge 6, now I can only charge 3. It's because you are not keeping up somewhat. And then having money be your only motivator, being the only thing that will be to determine if you will take a wedding or not, that's something that you'll probably need to shift and think about a little bit when it comes to your business. So, John, I've been kind of going through some of maybe the negative side of things or some frustrations that I've been having, but I know that over the past 4 months, even though you've been traveling a lot and you've been busy and you've been doing a lot of things, you have probably been the most fulfilled that I have seen you in the last 2 or 3 years when it comes to your filmmaking business. So why don't you just take a minute to talk about that?
Yeah. So it has been a journey since 2017. So now we're coming up on like 5 years since I drew a line in the sand and really started to focus on me and what made me happy. For the longest time, it was, I just got to make money. I just have to pay bills. I don't care. I'll take your wedding. Sure, you're breathing. I'll take it. Like, you're getting married. You have a pulse. Done. And then over the last few years, especially with How to Film Weddings coming in and that being a revenue source and my main, it's like my main revenue source at this point, and, it growing naturally over the last few years, coinciding with really leaning in and having conversations about who my ideal couple is. And there's not just like one couple or anything, but what is non-negotiable for me when it comes to, a wedding film. And it took a while. It takes a while to know what you don't want to do. And that's okay. And that's why it's cool to see you, Nick, raising your prices and then being like, I don't know if I'm just going to take this just because they're paying me 10 grand or something like that. And balancing that against what's important, what you're trying to do. And so for me, this year is the first full year where I said, I'm not taking more than 10 weddings. I'm at 13, just so you know, but I had a boundary. And I've said yes to some people because it just fit. And then I remember hearing Kaylin and Christine talking about one of their pillars for their couples is they have to have chemistry. And I was like, yes, that's what I've been meaning to say for a long time. Like, I don't know, like it clicked with me. Like, yeah, that's something that I want. I want the couple to be really into each other and really excited about this wedding. I don't want to do a wedding ever again where the bride is super pumped, the bride's mom's super pumped, but the groom does not want to be there. Like, I'm good. I don't want to be there with this couple if he's going to just go get drunk and not like, so that was really important. I just really started laying these things out, and it was like, I love destination events. I love whenever they have me there for 3 or 4 days and I can really get to know the family and really be part of the story and my first wedding of the year was in New York, near New York City, New Jersey, up in there. I was there for 3 days with the couple. We did extra shoots. It was awesome. Like, I spent more time with them, but it was not the best because I was by myself. And I was like, I really don't want to do any more weddings by myself. And so I'm always jealous of Nick because he's got Jen. He's the same person every single time. They work really well together. And so I started employing Blake, the editor, to come shoot with me. And it made a huge difference having somebody creatively that is on the same page, that we could get in a groove. I brought him and he was shooting drone stuff. We were getting footage of all kinds of, the cities in Guatemala and Telluride and upstate New York. And it was just like creatively super fulfilling to be able to shoot with the same person instead of random second shooters. And so, like, Blake is on almost all of my weddings this year, or somebody that is close to that caliber. And I'm asking him to do more and more. But point being is, like, that was another side of it too. Is like, if I'm going to do destinations, I don't want to just go by myself, or, my wife and kids sometimes come along, but it's like, if we're going and we're going to go do all this, like, creatively, it's so much more fun for me to have, these extra angles or this extra footage and stuff. And so it's gotten to this place though, where I have 13 weddings this year. I did 6 between like March and June, and I've got 7 more between September and December, but it's spread out and all the couples have chemistry with each other. All the couples are paying me a lot of money and are excited to pay me a lot of money and look at me as they're really excited that I'm the one that's going to be there. I'm not just some random vendor that they hired. And so that took me 5 years to get to, but now I'm really starting to reap those benefits. So we can talk more about that, Nick. I know we've got a lot more to talk about, and I think we're going to do that right after this break. Nick and I have to tell you about one of our favorite places to upload our wedding films, and that is Love Stories TV. Love Stories TV is one of the best free resources for us wedding filmmakers. The best part is they are bringing the couples to us. All we have to do is upload our films and we are good to go. Upload unlimited wedding films to your completely free business page. Setup is easy and your films can be live in just minutes. Now is the perfect time to start uploading to Love Stories TV. So head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/lovestoriestv to check out all of the details and see how Love Stories TV is giving away $10,000 in cash to wedding filmmakers just like you. That's howtofilmweddings.com/lovestoriestv to start uploading and connecting with the right couples today.
One question that we see wedding filmmakers asking: what is the best site for licensing music? We have one answer: MusicBed. I have been exclusively using MusicBed since 2016, and our films are better because of it. I have been told during consultations that couples love our films because they feel raw, authentic, and that the music wasn't cheesy. MusicBed has a roster of incredibly talented musicians, bands, and composers who pour their hearts into their work, and you can hear the difference. Find the perfect song with MusicBed's intuitive search features like genre, mood, beats per minute, and key, which is probably my favorite of the search parameters. Head over to howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed to do what I did and take your wedding films to the next level. Use promo code HTFW22 at checkout to receive 1 month free with the purchase of any annual subscription. That's howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed.
All right, friends, we are back from break. I said friends because you're our friends. You're listening and you're our friends. Anyway, we're back from break. We've been talking about just growing and pivoting. I'm thinking about the Friends episode, pivot, but like pivoting in your business whenever things seem off, and to always be kind of doing a self-check on, is this fulfilling? Am I hitting my goals? Am I serving the couples I want to serve? And we've just been walking through just kind of what we have been seeing. So Nick, I want to talk to you about, like, we mentioned it, but you do have more money than you've ever had in your account. Hopefully you're okay with me saying that. But, you're like, wow, I can buy some gear. I can do some whatever, but that doesn't buy you all of the happiness. I mean, it's great to have that. I remember conversations where it was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I need money. Like, this is a bummer. And so there's got to be a balance there. But like, what things have you been doing since, or conversations have you and Jen been having since, that streak of 5 or 6 weddings? What advice would you have to people if they are going through something about decision making? Should they make fast decisions? Should they change something really quick? What's been the process over at Wild Oak Films during this whole season?
Yeah, so Yeah, Jen is way more than I am, but she's like she says something and then she's like, hey, let's kind of think about that. I'm more, I say something, I think about it for, a little bit, and I'm like, okay, let's go, whatever. And so she's like, no, we're not going to make any, rash decisions. We're not going to make anything, we're not going to decide this or that or whatever. And so we started just figuring out what are the types of weddings that we like to shoot, and who are the couples that we like to work with, which we thought we knew pretty well. But what we discovered is specifically our website, what is out there, is not portraying and speaking to the people that we want to work with and showing the types of weddings that we want to work with. We were looking through it, but other than like in a couple of places that says destination on our website, like there really isn't anything on there about how we like to travel and how we like to do destination weddings, and that's what we do. And like, to me it's obvious because we have all this imagery of couples in different locations, in mountains and in fields and whatever, but it's not written down anywhere. I'm like, okay. We had hired CM Jacobson's ID Action team a while ago to kind of figure out our ideal buyer, but also give me some like sales coaching stuff on some calls and things, which I'll get into that in a second a little bit too. But as we were going through that, and as we, I had a conversation a little bit more with him, we decided that we needed to go ahead and have them finish up and do the copywriting for our website. And I think that is a big thing because with seeing John and his business and what he is doing, I think it was last fall that you launched your website with the copy and all that kind of stuff sometime. And I've really seen how John's been reaping the benefits of that in speaking to his direct person. And as we read through our website, we weren't speaking to that person well or speaking to that person correctly. And so we decided to hire them to do copywriting on our website. We, have just been having conversations about being way more select. We only want to do 8 max next year, and figuring out who those people are and what it is. And, we are getting quite a few inquiries. I say we're probably averaging 2 or 3 inquiries a week, which for us is, plenty, but a lot of them are price shopping or just working in places that, venues that we don't want to shoot at or things that we just, don't want to do. And so being intentional about that. And, it's very easy for us, I think, to put our alarms on and freak out about things. Coming into the month of July, we had 0 bookings for 2023, and we're doing okay. That's a nice thing about doing How to Film Weddings and having that is, I know I'm going to have some money coming in and we're going to be okay, that ways. But, I was like, I'm kind of worried about this. And so one of the things I did with Sam is I just talked through my sales process and figuring out who these people are that we want to work with and having those conversations and stuff with them. And so we did a couple of calls and he helped me with some things. And then, I'm happy to say that we have 1 wedding booked for next year now, and it's happening in a little place of the area of Tuscany, Italy. Just casually.
I'm not jealous at all.
Year.
I'm not jealous at all. I'm not jealous.
So very, very excited about that. And it's the type of wedding that we want to do. It's a couple that, on the sales call I got along with. We joked a lot. We had a good time. It's going to be like a 3 or 4 day event, and so the thing that I would say to people out there that are struggling with where they are in their business and, they don't, is one is don't make any rash decisions. Don't make anything like knee jerk, like really, really quick, sit on it for a minute. And then the other thing is try to figure out a solution that is different than what is going on. Like I recognize that it was probably our copy is something that was not getting people the right information, or we were not portraying ourselves correctly on our website. And so that was the direction. I was having conversations with people that I told them our base prices and they were fine with it, but I wasn't closing those sales calls. And I was like, where am I doing that? And so that's the growing pain that we are going through, is figuring out who those ideal clients are. And also, how do I communicate with them? How do I talk to them? And not being in this place of, earlier this year, I did book a, over a $14,000 package. And so therefore I have it all figured out and people can just, whatever. But we were struggling with the booking. And so I was like, even though we have had success in the past, there's something that is missing the mark in my process somewhere that I need to figure out. And so sticking with that and being a solution to whatever is going on in your business. And I know that you could be so close to it. Maybe that is, you find a friend, you find someone in our Facebook group, you find someone in your area, you find someone that can kind of go through and you can talk to them about these things so that you can figure out where maybe something's missing the mark. Because like I said, destination videography, us doing destination films, is not anywhere on our website, which I thought that it was plainly obvious to me. But as I was talking to Sam, he was like, yeah, that's not on there at all. Like, is that what you do? I don't know. I think, but I don't know, And so just having a fresh pair of eyes, having someone that can look through those things so that, and being a solution and not try to do the same things and hope for a different result. Right, which is what so many of us do. Try to do the exact same thing that we've always done, hoping for something different. So, feeling good after that booking, and just that perception of having one on the books. I mean, it's going to be a really cool one, but having that one on the books for next year totally changes my perception of our business, where we're going, how we're doing, how we're feeling, all that kind of stuff. So I just gave a long-winded kind of answer. I don't know if it was helpful.
That's what we're here for. It was helpful. It made me think of a couple things. So this is now I'm into 16th year of doing weddings, and that's longer than 99.99% of wedding filmmakers. There are other people that have done it longer. Not saying you can't, but most people last 3 to 5 years. If you're out there listening and you want to build a business that's sustainable, if you want to do this long term and have it be fulfilling and enjoy, like I travel and I'm enjoying it, and creatively I'm fulfilled and it pays me well, and I love it. Like I don't want to go do anything else. And with the old guy in the room, 15 years doing this, if you want to be successful long term in this, you can't make those knee-jerk reactions. You have to breathe for 90 days. It's like if you're chewing on something and wanting to make a change in your business, you're chewing on it for 3 months. That's usually enough time for you to be like, okay, I do want to make this shift. I do want to make this change. There are moments that can happen that it's like, I'm never doing this again. But you want to just take your time and be wise and be slow in your decisions. I was also going to say this. I was on the phone with a friend the other day that does luxury weddings, high-end weddings, and was just talking about myself and was asking this person if they are happy where they are. And just I'm doing a lot of gauging on whether or not I really want to lean into going to some of these luxury events, getting into that market, getting into these $25,000 and above wedding videos and things like that. And just like talking to other people that are already there, realizing that most of the people I'm talking to want to get into some education. And they're like, it would be actually better if I was doing like 10 or 12 weddings a year and was doing some education. And it's like, that's what I'm doing. Like I'm already right there. And I was just thinking, like, before I started walking up that ladder of going into like super luxury, like trying to go make all these connections with these luxury event planners and going to all these events and doing all these things, is that what I really want? Or is that what I think I want? And like, I've been chewing on this for years now. Nick knows this. It's just like, do I want to go to all these engage events? And do I want to? And I was having a conversation with Heather, my wife, and just saying like, this is what it looks like if I do that. I only want 10 weddings at the max. I really only want like 5 weddings because ultimately I would love to be able to shoot only a few weddings, maybe even one or two a year, so that I can really lean into what I find the most fulfillment doing. And that's teaching for how to film weddings in our mastermind group and creating courses and content. I'm not getting any younger. I'm not at a retirement age necessarily at 37, but like, do I want to shoot weddings after I'm 40, after I'm 45? Like, do I want to be shooting 25 luxury weddings in my 50s? Like, is that what I want? Or do I want to create? And so just like really taking a self-assessment, taking a step back and saying, this is what John and Nick are doing, but what do I want to be doing? Do I want to be doing some commercial work too? Do I want to be doing, do I have the most fun at these kinds of weddings? Do I want to outsource? Do I want it? There's so many different questions to be asking yourself, but if you want to create something sustainable, you can't just let whatever's happening happen and not put a plan in place, not have your boundaries set up, not have like the goal you want to go, because you could realize that you spend 3 or 4 years climbing up a ladder, but you're on the wrong ladder on the wrong wall. And it's like, wait a sec, I climbed up this wrong ladder and now I've got to climb back down and go over here. And I don't want you to do that. And I want to help save you the time in doing that. And so I ultimately have landed on, I do want to do some luxury events, but not at the expense of being gone from my home 20 different times a year. I'm very happy with the weddings that are coming in where the couple is reaching out to me and saying, I want to book you. I'll pay you $20,000. And I'm getting those $20,000 bookings from couples. I don't have very many great relationships with planners. So I do plan on the next few years to go to a few events, start really leaning into some of my luxury, relationships with different other vendors and things like that. So that could be a door for me. But like, if I don't book any more weddings next year, I have 2 booked. I'm okay with that because of what we're doing with how to film weddings. And that's the direction I really want to be going in my 40s. But if I hadn't taken the time to really lay that out, I would just be doing whatever and getting burned out. And so hopefully this conversation is helping you to kind of take a step back at this time of the year and say, why am I doing what I'm doing? Is this making me happy? If not, I'm not making a knee-jerk reaction. I'm not just going to quit. But where do I see myself in 3 years, in 4 years? And what steps do I need to be taking now to get there? And that's what I've been seeing with you, Nick, is like you are definitely were in an unhappy spot with the kinds of weddings you were doing. You took a 90-day window of time to just breathe and to assess and to think about it. You've set some boundaries. We only want 8 weddings next year. And it helps you to make decisions on where you want to go. And it makes it okay for me when that $8,000 booking says, no, thanks, we're going to hire somebody else. I'm like, I have my goals. I know where I'm heading. That's fine. Nick, what do you want to add?
Yeah. It's so easy to sit in this industry, and you can sit here listening because, we have 200 and almost 50 episodes worth of information and stuff. And you're like, well, I need to do this because John said no. So, or I need to do this because this is what Nick does, or I need to do this because whatever famous wedding filmmaker we've had on our podcast said to do things this way. You treating your business and doing something because someone else does it that way, if that's the sole reason, take a minute, step back, breathe, look at it, reconsider it. Okay. If it is not something that you want to do or a direction that you want to take your business because you want to do it that way, then you need to reconsider it. You might say, well, Nick does it this way, but you know what? I really like that Nick does it this way, and that jives with me, and that's what I want to do. Then now you're doing it because you want to do it, not because it's what I do. And I think that that's a big difference is we get so caught up in our business and in this industry, paying attention to everyone else, paying attention to this person or that person, instead of asking yourself, do I want to do this? Okay, mm-hmm. It's like my wife in art school, whenever she would do something and when everyone would say, why did you do this thing in your art? And they would say, because I thought it looked cool. Like her professor, like, that's not an answer. Like, hey, why are you running your business this way? Because John does. That's not an answer. Okay, that's you kind of just, oh, they do this and it's working for them, so it has to work for me. That's not necessarily the scenario or necessarily the case. So, take some time, learn from us. Hopefully this episode has been a little bit encouraging, just so you can hear exactly where we've been and what we've gone through and how we have felt about our businesses and the direction that we're going. And we always say that we don't have all the answers, and we just want to be open and honest and have conversations. We'll share the stuff that we know, and hopefully this episode has fallen into that category of helping you with your business.
Yeah, I love that. And I was just going to say, if you're out there, you're still listening, thank you, first of all. But if you could, send us a DM at How to Film Weddings on Instagram. Just send us a message and let us know what you're up to and where you're struggling. We've been getting lots of DMs, just people it's been so cool to connect with more people. And that's something we're wanting to do even better with How to Film Weddings, is just giving you the space to reach out to us, ask us questions, send us an audio message, send us a DM, pull out your phone, go to How to Film Weddings, send us a DM and let us know what you thought of this episode. We have a ton more coming, a lot of John and Nick content, a lot of awesome guests, but a lot coming on our YouTube channel, a lot coming as in the form of podcasts over the next few months. Nick, there's a bunch of really cool stuff coming. But that's all I think we have time for today. Nick, do you have anything else you want to add?
I do not.
All right. Well, you don't have anything to add. I don't have anything else to add. We hope you have an amazing week. And until next time, we'll see you.
See ya.
Are you looking for a better way to deliver your wedding films to your couples? Look no further. Our friends over at Wedflow provide the most flexible video delivery solution on the market. Wedflow is pay per project with no large upfront cost or commitment, and you can cancel anytime. Not only that, Wedflow offers a premium viewing experience for your couples, accessible on mobile, tablet, desktop, as well as their very own suite of TV apps. Each project comes with 10 years hosting and an experience for your clients that will blow them away. Stop delivering your films the old-fashioned way and give your couples something to rave about. Head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/Wedflow to check out Wedflow today.